Hey guys, this is God of Politics and welcome back to a brand new video. But before we get started this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the new congressional districts that have been released by the Independent Commission in the state of Colorado. This is the first congressional district map that has officially been released. Now, this map is only preliminary because we don't have our official census data yet. But this is the preliminary map, which they will, I assume, adjust slightly for population data once we do get it in around August, September, I believe. But this is basically what the map is going to look like, and I'm going to show it to you in a sec. But first, I want to show you what the current map looks like. Now, as you can see on the left here, these districts deviate quite substantially from what they're supposed to, and that's why we have this redistricting process every 10 years, because what you're seeing across the country is lots of suburban districts and even some urban districts in states like Colorado are heavily overpopulated and are going to need to be spread out, especially when the state is gaining a district like it is in Colorado. But as you can see here, the first district has 31,000 too many people, whereas the third district, this district in the western part here, represented by Lauren Boebert, has 56,002 people, 56,000 too few people. So that is an 87,000 person difference. You can see here that the 7th district in the northern part of Denver here also is losing. It has 12,000 too few people. The 4th district in the eastern part here is 20,000 too many people. So it does deviate here, and that's why it's going to be adjusted, especially when you're gaining a district. And so they now are going to have 8 districts, and this is what I predicted the new map to look like. You'd have the 3rd district look, roughly similar, but it would no longer take Pueblo. It would take a lot of these areas over here in the western part of the state, including Steamboat Springs, Aspen, but it would not take Pueblo anymore because, like I said, instead of the district having, if it were, adjusted for population around 800,000, these districts now only have 700,000. So the 3rd district is no longer going to go into Pueblo, which does have a lot of people in it, 165,000 people, so it'll look probably like this according to my prediction. The 4th district would look roughly similar to what it does right now as well, except it would take more of these counties over here, plus it would take Pueblo. As for the 5th district, I said that it was basically just going to take the Colorado Springs area, the county that it's in. 2nd district, I said that it would be, again, roughly similar. Maybe it would take an additional county up here, which doesn't really have many people, only 1,261 people to begin with. So I thought that it would look similar to this. The 1st district, I think, would stay, I predict would stay relatively unchanged, just keeping Denver. The 6th district, I predicted would take the southern areas of Denver. 7th district would take the northern areas, and the 8th district would take these southern areas of the metro area of Denver, while following the county lines of Jefferson County and Douglas County. Now, look at this map, look at what I've predicted, and then we can look at the current map. Now, I didn't get to do a prediction in a video for the state of Colorado, but I did end up doing a prediction. If you don't believe me, this prediction is on my Twitter that I released the night before the maps were released, and you can see that this was my prediction, but this is what the map has turned out to look like. Now, I would actually consider this to be quite accurate. Now, as you can see here, I have actually drawn out the new map on Dave's redistricting. It took many, many hours to get exactly all the precincts right, all of the split precincts right, but I did end up doing it. And we do have this map to present here. Now, you may see that these population numbers are off, and yes, I know they're off. The maps are drawn the way they are, but the population numbers are off. I guess they're anticipating some sort of 2020 numbers to have different changes from this. They're anticipating the 3rd district to have lost a small amount of people since 2019. They anticipate the 5th district to have gained slightly more people, the 7th district to have gained, similar thing with that. But as you can see here, this is the map that they have proposed. When you compare it to my prediction, I actually believe this is quite accurate because we look at the 4th district. Now, the 4th district, when you have adjusted for population, as I have done in this map, you can see here that it takes all of these counties over here. It takes all those counties in the proposed map, plus it takes these additional counties over here, which really do not have many people in them. But as you can see here, it's a very similar map. 3rd district, also very similar. Mine doesn't take these counties here like it does in this map, but again, very similar. The 5th district, very similar as well. The 1st district, almost exactly the same down to the precinct. If I actually zoom in to this map over here, we can see it's almost exactly the same down to the precinct. You probably can't even tell the difference of where this map is. I actually can't even tell the difference at this point, but there is a small difference of about 4,000 people, but it's over in this area. And the 6th district, as I predicted, would be in the southern parts of Denver. It is indeed in the southern parts of Denver. Now, this is where it's slightly off. I predicted the 7th district to be a little bit more compact, taking the northern parts of Denver. Instead, the actual 7th district, which is now the 8th district for some reason, the incumbent who lives in the 7th district lives in this new 8th district. So he would be running in this district, I assume. So it doesn't really make it much of a difference. But as you can see here, this 7th district I thought would be a lot more compact. Instead, has stretched into the more northern parts of the Denver metro area, which I was told was because it's a more Hispanic district. But from what I can see, it's only 22% Hispanic. If they were really worried about making a Hispanic majority district, they would have split up Denver and just put these two areas together, as you can see my cursor's doing. And they didn't even put these northern areas of this county into the district, which are more Hispanic. So I don't really understand it. Maybe they didn't draw it to be a Hispanic district. Maybe they did draw it and they could only make it a certain percent Hispanic, but I don't really understand the way it's drawn. Maybe if someone's from Colorado and knows about more communities of interest in me, they can explain it, but I don't really understand it. I also don't understand why the precincts are split this way to look so cursed, but that's the way it is. You can see this 7th district over here is taking in a lot of these red precincts in the southern part of the metro area, which probably a lot of them would have gone blue in 2020. And then it takes a lot of these very blue precincts just next to Denver over here. Now, it doesn't stretch into the area where the incumbent from the 7th district currently lives. So he lives in Arvada. He'll probably end up running in this 8th district because, 1, he lives in the district, and 2, it's a bluer district, despite the fact that it won't have the same name. I expect him to win the primary quite easily, but as you can see here, I'm using President 2016 numbers on DRI, and this 7th district is red here. It was R plus 0.9 percentage points, but in 2020, this map was won by Joe Biden by almost 10 percentage points. He won it by 9 percentage points here. So it's over a 10-point shift towards Joe Biden, towards the Democratic Party. And I have a very hard time believing that this is a district that's going to go to Republicans, despite the fact that Donald Trump won it in 2016. And I saw someone make a pretty good point. If this district's going to Republicans, you're going to have a lot of other districts going to Republicans that'll make it so you don't really need to worry about this district anymore. Republicans, they won this district, Republicans would be gaining, 30, 40 seats. I don't know the exact accuracy, the exact number of that, but I really find it hard to believe that they're going to win this district. This 8th district is Biden plus 15. The 6th district is Biden plus 25, which is the 6th district, which is instead of Biden plus 20, it's going to be Biden plus 25 because it doesn't take a lot of these more Republican parts in the northern part as it kind of snaked around in the current map. The 5th district, which is the Colorado Springs area, was won by Trump by 11 points. As you can see here, the 4th district, one of the most Republican in the state, was won by Trump by 20 points. As you can see, these are pretty much the only counties that didn't trend towards the Republicans in 2020, or trend towards the Democrats, I should say. Most of these counties, especially a lot in the western part of the state and the Denver suburbs, of course, did trend towards Joe Biden. The 3rd district was won by Trump by 7 points, which I believe is 1 point more than what he won the 3rd district by in its current form, which was 6 points. Now, Lauren Boebert's not really going to be in trouble in this map. I think she will underperform Trump's performance of a 7-point win, but unless Democrats can run a pretty solid candidate, they didn't really run a good candidate in 2020, but I do believe that they can run a solid candidate. Maybe they can make it like a 3 to 4 point race, but Lauren Boebert, despite many people not liking her, despite her being a very controversial figure, she is probably still going to win. Now, the 2nd district is the second most Democratic in the state, won by Joe Biden by 33 percentage points. Obviously, Boulder makes up the big chunk of this district, as well as Fort Collins, and you can see these are very liberal areas. Basically every precinct in the county where Boulder is in, which is Boulder County, basically every precinct except for these two up in the north did go to Hillary Clinton, and I'm sure that those two precincts both went to Joe Biden, or maybe they slightly went to Donald Trump. And of course this county to the north here is quite liberal as well. Fort Collins very liberal, Loveland slightly more conservative to balance it out a little bit, but still a liberal county that gets taken into the 2nd district. And as you can see here, what I'm predicting, actually we can talk about the final district first, which of course is going to be like Biden plus 62. It's just Denver. They didn't split up Denver, which I think is probably a good thing. I think it's good because Denver has a population very similar to Congressional district, and you can make that very, very accurate. And you can make, of course, it looks kind of cursed because the Denver borders extend up into the airport here, but it's quite a compact map, and I think that it's good that they kept it all together. So overall, looking at this map, you can see here that using the 2016 president numbers, there are 4 Republican districts and 4 Democratic districts. Now, if we change the data sets, we go to the Attorney General 2018 data, which is actually the data that the Independent Commission used when presenting the partisanship of these districts. You can see here the 3rd district is slightly closer, being at only R plus 10 instead, or just under R plus 10 instead of a bit over R plus 10 in the 2016 president numbers. The 7th district is R plus 3 approximately. The 8th district is actually closer as well, being at only R plus 8, and so, or D plus 8, I should say. And so, when these maps were first released, people were under the impression that the 7th district would go Republican, but of course, it did go to Biden by almost 10 points in 2020. Using the Governor 2018 numbers, it went to Jared Polis by about 3.4 percentage points, which is quite a strong performance, but he didn't have the same suburban strength that Joe Biden did. And maybe you have a candidate that, on the Republican side, can reverse a little bit of that suburban shift towards the Democratic Party and make this race a little bit closer, but you know, you can only reverse the trend so much. It's just like a Democrat can't do that well in a rural area anymore. Republicans aren't going to be able to do that well in a suburb that is pretty blue. And there's a lot of suburbs that are a lot more Republican. Areas of Texas are a lot more Republican, for example, but these are Denver suburbs. They're a lot bluer. And this district is right outside of Denver. A lot of people who would live and work in Denver would go into these areas right outside of it, which are in the 7th district, which are also very, very Republican. So I really have a hard time believing that that 7th district is going to go to the Republicans, but we will see what happens. I think this is quite an interesting map. I wouldn't say it's the best map. I think that it could have been a lot cleaner, but maybe there's a justification for it that I just can't see because I don't live in Colorado. But overall, I think it's a decent map. But I think that it could have been a lot better. But one more thing I want to do before I end this video is just contribute to this overall map of the redistricting. Now, every time a new state releases their redistricting map, I'm going to be adding to this map. But our first state is Colorado, and we do have a Democrat gain. They gained a district, and it is most likely going to go to the Democrats, so I am categorizing this as a Democrat gain in the redistricting. Now, this map may look very different and very filled up as we go along, but as of now, the Democrats are at a net gain on redistricting. So, thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.